arriving in the body, grounding through the soles of the feet. Just scanning the awareness, head to toe here, searching for areas of tension. Maybe there's an ailment, maybe there's an injury, maybe there's an ache. So just a gentle nod internally of acknowledgement to that area before we begin our practice, a mindful practice. And then shifting our awareness to that subtle body of breath, pranamaya, taking deep inhalation in through the nose, expanding the tummy and rib cage, and as we exhale, emptying everything out, allowing the abdomen to constrict and shrink. The awareness shifting again once more to the mind and the movement of thought. And just that reminder for us to return to the state as a quiet observer. So don't look for answers or conclusions to those thoughts or feelings. Just gently observe throughout our practice. On the next exhalation, releasing the hands down by the side. And as we inhale, reaching wide and high, stretching out through the body, perhaps allowing the head to drop back slightly here. As we exhale, bringing the head back between the arms, stepping the right foot over the left and beginning to lean towards the left side. We're pushing into the right hip, option to look up from underneath that right arm. A little bit of a balancing act at the beginning of our practice, but a nice deep stretch down the right side. As we exhale, gently come back through that neutral position. Uncross the legs, inhalation, reach up. Exhalation, opposite side, left foot over the right. Lean to that right side. Push into the left hip. Look up from underneath the left arm. Gently soften and exhale. Come back through the center and reach once more. Begin with breath there. Exhalation, begin to fold over the legs. Soft at first, allow a bend in the knees. Inward breath, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Flatten the back slightly here. As we exhale, fold a little deeper, start to straighten the legs. As we inhale, rise again to that halfway point. And as we exhale, sweep over to the left side and just bow the head in towards the shin. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Gently swing back through the center, a halfway lift here, peek forwards. And with the outward breath, sweeping over to the right side. Take a bow, bring the head in towards the shin. Gently releasing back through that central position, a halfway lift. But this time as we exhale, taking a gentle bind around the ankles, the elbows move wide. Start to straighten the legs and push up and out through the tailbone. Instead of trying to bring the head towards the shins, think about just bringing the abdomen and the thighs closer together, or maybe even the chest closer towards the knees. And starting to stretch the hamstrings here, but not being forceful. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Slowly, steadily, walking the hands up the legs here as we begin to rise. I want to arch through the spine, stack the vertebrae, slowly uncoil, then reach the arms wide and high, chins last to lift here. Push the hips slightly forward, release that residual tension from the lower back. As we exhale, begin to fold. Ground the palms. We're going to step the left leg back for Anjaneyasana, the low lunge. So ground the palms, frame that front foot, step the left leg back. Drop that left knee, untuck the toes. There's an option to stay low here, so maybe come onto the fingertips, lengthen through the spine, lift the chin, and try and make sure that right knee is above the right ankle more or less. Or if we feel that it's available, we can rise and reach for the full low lunge, Anjaneyasana, for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhalation, rise slightly. Exhalation, release the hands, frame the foot, rock the weight back for that half split. Ardha Hanumanasana. Straighten the leg and spine on the inward breath. On the outward breath, bow over that front leg if it's available. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Shift the weight forwards on the outward breath. On the inward breath, sweep the arms back to the sky. It's only momentary. As soon as those palms touch, release the hands, frame the foot. We'll tuck the toes, lift the rear knee, and step back. A high plank here, Phalakasana. Let's lower our knees, chest, chin or forehead. Chaturanga Dandasana. It's the outward breath for that one. As we inhale, roll the shoulders back, but don't push with the hands. Just look forwards, a baby cobra, Bhujangasana. It's just the lower back we're using here. Exhale, release. Now a slight push with the hands. Pull the shoulders back, look up. Outward breath back down. Prepare to tuck the toes for rising into upward facing dog. So we tuck and wave through the body, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And then round off the spine, push back as we ground through the knees, tuck the chin and tailbone. The hands slide about 10 inches back until they're below the shoulders, Majjariyasana. Release the breath. As we inhale for Vittalasana, drop the spine, push out through the tailbone, lift the crown of the head. Outward breath, round off. Inward breath, drop the spine, lift the head. Then come back to that neutral position. We'll step the hands forwards a touch here. Tuck the toes, lift the knees. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Little walk on the spot here, just to revisit the hamstrings a little bit. Start to wake them up. We remember with this walk, when we bend the knee, let's say the right knee, then we tip the bottom to the right side. When we bend the left knee, tip the bottom to the left side, and always continue to push towards the rear of the mat. Really push into the heels of the palms and the fingertips. As we come back to stillness, look into between the palms. The left leg moves forwards. Step into Anjaneyasana. Drop the right knee, untuck the toes. And choose to stay low or rise and reach with me. For 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. And for 1, inhale, rise slightly. Exhale, release those hands. Frame the foot, rock back. Ardha Hanumanasana, the half Hanuman. Rise on that inward breath. Straighten the leg and spine. Exhale with the chin elevated. Let's fold over that leg if it's available. Remembering at times like this, and the triangle as well, Trikonasana, it's good to use the blocks. If that front leg struggles a little bit, if it's not quite ready for that deep stretch of the hamstrings. Just one last cycle of breath here. And then shifting the weight forwards again. And rising. Sending the arms wide and high, reach up. We're not staying. As soon as the palms touch, release the hands, frame the foot, tuck the toe, lift the knee. Step back to high plank. Option to drop the knee beneath the body, the left knee beneath the body. As we turn to Vashisthasana, the side plank. If we're supporting ourselves with that left knee, then just bring it down to the other. Maybe take a little 90-degree pivot with the lower leg there. Or otherwise, just enjoy that side. That fully extended side plank there. For 3. For 2. Make sure we push that right hip up slightly, but not too much. For 1. As we exhale, drawing the right hand down towards the earth, adjust that left hand and lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog, Urdhva. And Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's return to that little walk here. Just loosen, beckoning the body to loosen up a little bit and wake up a little bit. Lower back, hips, hamstrings, knees, ankles. And remembering the breath as well. As we come back to stillness, up and over on the tiptoes here, shift the weight back to our high plank position. This time it's right palm to the center, left arm reaches to the sky. If we drop the knee before and we want to support, by all means, head there for 5, for 4, for 3, remember the breath, for 2, and on 1, release the left hand back to the high plank. We'll lower the hips first, this time to upward facing dog. So shift the weight forwards, tuck the toes, bring the knees and the pelvis down towards the earth. Lift the chin as the arms bend. Then we'll reverse the action. Tuck the toes and wave up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Get ready for our bounce forwards to the squat Malasana. Then we can crawl or step our way there with wide feet to the outside of the mat. Or if we're experimenting with that little jump, float forwards. And once we arrive, ease yourself down. If you find that you're up here somewhere, the hips aren't ready yet, that's fine as well. Just work into whatever's available. As and when. If it's accessible, bringing the hands in towards heart center. And we're using the backs of the elbows there. Creating that little, finding that little anchor point on the inside of the knees. Good. Really sink for a moment here. Try not to let the inside of the ankles collapse either. Keep the blade of the foot pressing into the earth. The next deep inward breath, almost peak up very slightly here, so lengthen, rise a touch, activate. As we exhale, tuck the chin, shrug the shoulders, rock back for happy baby. We're going to grab the feet on the way down or the backs of the knees, and then release the spine as well once we arrive there. So long flat spine, the knees and the thighs consciously forcing them towards the outside but not heavily, and then downwards at the same time. We've got to find that sweet spot where we're just outside the comfort zone. We know we're stretching, we're deepening the position. Maybe a little rock from side to side just to help facilitate that. The opening of the pelvis and the hips here. As we come back to stillness, bringing the knees in towards the abdomen or towards the chest, we'll hug around and lift nose to knee. Release the breath here. But then as we inhale, bind Hasta Padangusthasana, right hand to right big toe, releasing that left leg, left hand to left hip, and head and shoulders down onto the mat. We're pushing up and out through that right heel. Here's a moment or an opportunity for you to use your strap if you're using your strap when it comes to these positions. Just draw little circles with that right heel. Continue to loosen up. And then as we come back to stillness, a big deep inward breath expands the tummy. And as we exhale, lifting nose to knee, keeping that leg as straight as is available and pulling in towards the face. So if we're bound around the big toe or maybe if that's not quite available, we've got a strap involved or the hands are up around the calf. Just remember, we don't want to force it to the point where the knee starts to bend and we're really rounding off the spine and tucking the chin. Keep the spine fairly straight, or as much as is available, and try and bring the abdomen or the chest and the thigh closer together, but whilst maintaining a leg that's as straight as is available. So we're not quite locking the knee joint either, if you find that you do have that accessibility here. As we exhale, release head and shoulders down to the mat. Left hand to left hip and right leg descends out towards the outside here. So you want to open that right hip out. Left hand serves as a reminder on the left hip, just to keep us flat and grounded. We don't want to kind of tip over onto our side. So that left hand is there for that purpose. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Taking a bend in the right knee, bringing it back across the body now. Left hand takes control of the knee, right arm extends to the right side, and we almost push into the elbow and the back of the right arm as we help twist and turn in our supine twist, pulling the left knee with the left hand over to the opposite side here. Remember to empty the breath, and at the bottom of the exhalation, that's where we engage that little bit of tension in the fingers of the left hand and pull that knee a little closer to the earth, just to deepen the twist. At the bottom of the next exhalation, just deepening a touch more. And then gently releasing, bringing both knees back up and into the abdomen as we tip back onto our back in the central position. Hug around the shins or around the knees, empty the breath out, really shrink here. Then take Supta Hasta Padangusthasana on the opposite side, so the left side, left hand, left big toe. Extend that leg towards the sky, release the right leg to the earth, right hand, right hip, head and shoulders down. We draw those little circles with the left foot, on the left heel. Just deepening that stretch slightly. And then as we come back to stillness, a deep inward breath, expanding the tummy. On the exhalation, lifting nose to knee, pulling the leg in, same as before. Right hand slides down that right thigh if it's available, just as a reminder to keep that leg grounded. We've got different anatomy, and so some of us might find that the leg stays very flat on the ground. Some of us might have a leg like mine, where the heel's down, but the leg won't go any deeper. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Gently releasing head and shoulders, right hand to right hip, the left leg descends out towards that left side, opening that left hip, kind of finding that sweet spot hopefully where you can almost relax into this stretch and let go of that tension from the quads in the left leg. So if you find that the left leg's tense in the thigh there, I want to try and work that tension out of it, kind of soften and surrender into that stretch, almost move the tension up towards the fingers of the left hand whilst you're retaining that bind around the big toe or maybe around the strap. One last deep breath here. And as we exhale, a bend in the left leg, bringing that knee across the body, changing hands. Right hand governs the left knee, left arm extends, and we twist and turn over to the right side. As always, there's an option to look over the left shoulder here. And just taking a moment to enjoy tension that we feel diagonally across the abdomen here. When we really empty the breath out, we push out that last little bit of breath. Try to soften the legs. Don't hang on to tension there either. And just keep a little bit of activation in that right hand and the fingers of the right hand, almost to just press that left knee on the outside of the left knee, a little closer to the earth. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Gently releasing, coming back to our neutral position, both knees up and in. Give them a nice little hug here. Lift nose to knee, empty the breath out. And then Setu Bandha Chaturanga, the bridge on the inhalation. So ground soles of the feet, shoulder width, hands down past the hips, and lift the hips up towards the sky. Expand the tummy with that inward breath. As we exhale, soften slightly. And as we inhale, push up a touch higher. For 3. Almost pulsing with the breath here. For 2. And for 1. Exhalation, hips down to the earth, knees up and in towards the abdomen, but we'll cross the feet. Get ready to rock and roll to Chaturanga Dandasana, the low plank, or into the high, then the low plank, in your own time. Good. So waving through the body for upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Remember to lift the chin here, really push the earth away. And Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. We'll bring the right knee underneath the body towards the nose here. Tuck the chin in towards the chest as we do so. And shift the weight forward so the shoulders are above the wrists here. Remember the breath for 3. Option to come onto the tip of that big toe on the rear foot if it's available for 2. And for 1, kicking the right leg towards the sky now, Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Try and keep the hips parallel. Then step under the body for Virabhadra, Warrior 2 on the right. So drop the rear heel 90, sweep the left arm up and around, rise on the inward breath. As we exhale, sink down. We won't hold for long here. Arrive in the position. Remember, left shoulder, left hip. It's kind of pulling back so we're open towards that left side. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Rising slightly, hands to heart center or to the ground for Skandasana. Sink the weight back towards the rear of the mat. Take your version. Remember, ball of the foot's fine here, or even resting on that rear thigh or the elbow on the knee, if that helps. You've got to listen to the body and take a version that suits it. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stay nice and low. Hover or crawl towards the front. We ground the left palm, ball of the rear foot, to sweep the right arm up towards the sky. Parivrata Sanchalanasana. We won't stay long here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release that right hand inside the right foot as we heel toe the right foot, touch wider, and stand. Attention for the lizard, Uttan Prishthasana. For 3, for 2, and on 1, choose to hold or drop to the left elbow and sweep the right arm towards the sky. Don't let that right knee drop out too much. Keep that rear leg active. So we're tensing up the rear leg. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing the right hand, joining our friends back in the lizard, up on the palms here, and all together stepping that right leg back to the high plank. We'll lower hips first here, upward facing dog. So that shift of the weight forwards, tuck the chin and release the toes, then wave down. and reverse the action. And back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. We'll immediately shift that left leg under the body forwards, knee to nose, tuck the chin here, tip of the big toe, shoulders above the wrists, for 3. For 2. And for 1. Extend the leg to the sky. 3-legged dog. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Let's step under for warrior 2 on the left then. Remember to drop the rear heel, sweep the arm up, rise a touch higher than we need to. And we can find our alignment on the way down then. Make sure that knee doesn't dip in. And it's a strong rear inside ankle, so we're kind of pushing the blade of the foot into the mat there. We'll rise slightly with the inward breath for Skandasana. Rock the weight back and sink down. Hands to heart center or to the earth. Both is fine. For 5. 4. 3. 2. And on 1, stay nice and low. Hover towards the front. Ground the palms. Ball of the rear foot. Then sweep that left arm up. Parivrata Ashwa Sanchalanasana. For 5. 4. 3. 2. And on 1, the outward breath. Left hand inside the left foot. A little heel toe towards the outside just to widen up. And then lengthen the spine. Peek forwards. For 3. For 2. And for 1, choose to stay. If there's a touch more here, come down onto that right forearm, right elbow. Sweep the left arm up towards the sky. Make sure we don't let that right shoulder collapse here. We don't want to kind of collapse into it. We've got to really push away and reach. Pull the left shoulder back. For 5. Activate that rear leg for 4. For 3. For 2. And on 1, we release the left hand. Join our friends again. Back in our lizard. Peek forwards, then step the leg back. Lower the hips first here. Urdhva Mukha. Wave down. Then reverse. And back. And a hop, step or jump forwards to chair, Utkatasana. Float there if that's in your practice, or take a crawl there. Keep the knees bent. Reach towards the sky. And sink. Remember the breath. As we rise, we'll push the hips forwards in front of the ankles, a gentle back bend here. And then straighten up, bringing the hands to heart center. Samastiti. Take deep cycles of breath. We're beginning to soften the quads here, release the kneecaps, soften the shoulders. We still stand tall here. It's a position that's often confused with Tadasana, the mountain, a very active position where we activate the legs, the arms, pretty much everything. The breath changes, we might employ Ujjayi breath, oceanic breath. But in this position, it's more of a standing Shavasana. We soften, the awareness pulls inwards and we bring it to the breath. Those conscious, balanced breath. Maybe using pranayam such as Samavritti, the balance or box breathing, which is our breath that's equal essentially. So we exhale for about the same amount of time that we inhale as we soften. Couple more cycles of breath here. Big expansion with the next inhalation. And as we exhale, beginning to tuck the chin and shrug the shoulders, almost round off the spine. We release the hands down past the thighs, the knees, and start to reach for the earth. I'm going to head back into chair, Utkatasana. As soon as the fingertips touch, we sweep the arms wide and reach for the sky. We won't hold though. Ground the palms, fold, Chaturanga, a little bounce or a float back if it's available. Remember, shoulders need to be in front of the wrists for that. Upward face, wave through the body. And downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Find stillness here, let the heels be very heavy. Slowly adjust the position. Bring the crown of the head closer towards the earth here. So maybe allow the hands to slide a touch, but not beyond where we're able to control our position. So we're just deepening it slightly more than we normally would. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Bring the knees to the earth here. And then continue to slide the hands forwards for the puppy pose until the hips are above the knees. We want to start to look between the palms and bring the chest and the chin towards the earth. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Coming onto the balls of the feet here, keeping the forearms grounded as we start to lift the knees off of the earth and walk forwards to our Chatur Svanasana, our dolphin position, like a down dog. And you can head back to your down dog if this feels a little too intense. Again, we want heavy heels. Start to straighten the legs and find a straighter back here if it's available. Now choose to hold in your dolphin pose, or maybe head into a child's pose to ease off of the tension here. Or if there's a little more available, we want to continue to ascend, we can start to push into the elbows and find that cup position with the hands and bring the crown of the head towards the earth. We're cupping around the high ponytail position as we continue to walk forwards again until the tailbone's almost entirely above the head. And as we push into the forearms, the feet start to lift. Remember the breath here for your Shirshasana. Those of us that have risen, if we were practicing alone in our own time, we might enjoy spending a little more time here. But beginning to descend slowly, steadily, the way that we rose, releasing the hands and joining our friends, our neighbours in a child's pose, Balasana, sinking back, maybe widening the knees, bringing the big toes together. And one last deep cycle of breath here. And beginning to rise slightly, rounding off the spine, tucking the tailbone and the chin, sliding the hands back just a touch, maybe about 6 to 8 inches. We tuck the toes and lift the knees here. Prepare to step or crawl forwards into your Malasana, your yogic squat, or take a bounce forwards with me into the crow. So Kakasana, we bounce forwards and hopefully catch on the back of the elbows. Those of us arriving in our Malasana, we're sinking down steadily the same way we did before. And as and when it's available, bringing the hands to heart center, straightening the spine. And then those of us in the crow, beginning to straighten the arms very slightly, just so that we can get the feet underneath the body and out towards the outside. And we'll arrive in our Malasana as well. Good. We'll inhale together and lengthen here. And this time as we exhale, instead of rolling back, we're grounding the palms, bouncing or kicking the legs back into Chaturanga, the low plank. So support here. Remember, shoulders need to be beyond the wrists. If we're above the wrists, it makes it very hard to lift the weight of the tailbone. So shift the shoulders forwards. Only do it, if you've not done it before, maybe have a cushion so you don't headbutt the floor. So make sure you support and then gently kick the legs back. Nice, good, it's lovely. Wave through the body, up. And notice that tension now in the lower back, a different sort of tension. It's not that stiffness that we have at the beginning, it's because we've lengthened. That's it, up and back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Widen the hands here, prepare for the jump through, your version. So come onto the tips of the toes or the balls of the feet, bend the knees, push the tailbone back, look to between the palms, and then bring the legs underneath the body. Out in front for Dandasana. So float, take the arms wide and high, reach up. Remember to push the heart space forwards here. Paschimottanasana, folding over the legs. Lead with the tummy and the chest as opposed to the head. Keep the chin lifted on the way down. Inhalation, rising very slightly, a little rock side to side on the sit bones. Exhalation, start to sink a little deeper. There's a peak point here, as we know, when we're nice and deep, where if we're almost hanging on and activating the forearms and the hands in our bind around the ankles or around the feet, hopefully we can almost push the chest against the thighs and then soften the thighs, kind of let go of the kneecaps. So we find that we're slightly higher and we're tensing the legs. Try and find that spot where you can let go. The legs might bend very slightly, that's natural. But we don't want to resist the stretch of the hamstrings. We don't want to fight against that. We want to soften the leg. That's the point in letting those muscles relax a little bit in the thighs. Otherwise, we're acting against that action of lengthening. And the body's trying to protect itself. We don't want to fight against that. Let's slowly start to rise. Sliding the hands back. Maybe uncoiling here, so a rounded spine until the last moment. The shoulders can start to roll back. Hands slide a little bit further than normal. Two options here. One is to come up shoulder width to a reverse tabletop. So you have to kind of guess where the heels need to be for this one. With time, you get there, and as you do so, inhale, push the hips up, let the head drop back. Or if the legs are out nice and long in front and we want to attempt our Purvottanasana, we point the toes, push into all of the heels, that includes these ones, and we start to roll the shoulders back and lift into a reverse plank. It's a little more demand in this one. And wherever we are though, we'll hold this now for 20 minutes. Imagine. I've got to chuck one of them jokes in from time to time. Let's exhale and slowly lower. From whichever position, all the way down towards the earth. So round off the spine, lower with control. And take any last movements the body might call for here. Maybe another little happy baby. Maybe the knees come up and we just windscreen wiper them side to side. Or perhaps the body's ready, already, for us to extend the arms and legs length and width of the mat, maybe even out towards the outside, a little wider for our Shavasana. Our final relaxation. As always, let the body be the guide here as it starts to dissolve and numb itself through stillness into the ground, into the mat. Follow suit with the movement of thought in the mind. Just gently, softly detach. Don't look for a conclusion. Allow yourself to daydream beyond the movement of thought. And for the awareness to start to dissolve and numb itself as well. As always with these 45 short practices, these 45-minute practices that we do, we don't get too much time, unfortunately. So bringing the awareness back with a nice deep breath, expanding the tummy, expanding the rib cage. Taking gentle movement in the hands and the feet. Ankles, the wrists. And another deep inward breath as we reach the arms over the head. Stretch out all the way through the body, point the toes, lengthen through the legs, through the spine. With the outward breath, very mindful of the lower back. Just bring the knees up and in towards the abdomen. Take a little hug here. And then maybe choose to turn softly to one side for a moment. Take a moment there. Or gently rock up into your seated position when you're ready. Let's close our practice today with the hands at heart center for the Mahamrityunjaya. Aum Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivartanam Uvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshamamritat. I'm going to bow to peace within. Aum Shanti.